Now, despite awareness campaigns, better education, more comprehensive labelling, it seems many people still don't know enough about the food they are eating.
New research from the Department of Health suggests more than half of those questions in England were not aware of the fat, sugar and salt content of many popular dishes. Breakfast Graham Satchell has been putting some people to the test.
So here's a quick quiz. Which one of these three food items has the most salt? We've got a chicken tikka masala, a ham and cheese sandwich, and some ready salted crisps. Now, in the Department of Health survey out today, 85% of people got this wrong. Which one do you think has the most salt?
I would say the crisps.
The crisps?
The
Tikka masala. What do you think? What do you say?
I was going to say the same.
Tikka masala.
We've got salted crisps there.
Yes. The ready salted crisps.
That is so difficult. How long have we stood out here with this quiz?
That one, curry, banana crisps.
Yeah, I'll say that.
The sandwich.
Yeah.
You're right.
Am I?
Yes.
Wow.
What do you think?
Took me a long while pondering that one. Any prizes for guessing the right?
No, you get nothing, I'm afraid, except the glory of being right.
Okay.
Well, you see, I think a lot of people would have got that wrong, don't you think?
I would have got it wrong. I would have said the chicken tikka masala.
So the food there with the least amount of salt was the ready salted crisps with 1.13 grams per packet.
Then it was the chicken tikka masala ready meal with 2.05 grams.
And according to the Department of Health, the food with the most salt was that sandwich with 2.47 grams. Let's talk about it now with Nigel, Denby and Angela Epstein, who's journalist and mother. Nigel, you're the expert here. I mean, a lot of people would have gone, wouldn't they, for the chicken tikka masala there? But just go through the elements in the sandwich that's going to contain all the salt.
Well, first of all, you've got hidden salt, so salt you wouldn't expect to find perhaps in the bread. You've also got salt that's used in making cheese and again for curing meat, and I think that one even had some pickle in, so there'd be salt in there. And that's the issue. There is salt added to some foods for functionality. So for bread, it's added to stop the bread becoming too full of air bubbles, and it's there to preserve the meat and also to give the food its flavour. But in other foods, it's added purely for taste because we expect it. Our taste buds expect salt to be there.
Angela, when you're doing your supermarket dash, do you check salt content, for example? Or
no, I rely on. I mean, the short answer is no, because if one was to do that, then you would spend hours in the supermarket just looking at everything like a kind of foodie Sherlock Holmes. So you have to rely on the labelling to some extent. We talk about reduced salt or low salt, and we don't know that that's possibly a relative term. It just means that it's less. It's the same with the salads that you can get and salad dressing. You know, we talk about ketchup. And you think you're having a healthy option because you're going for a prepared salad with a bit of dressing. The dressing
light
can be
dressing.
Exactly, can be loaded with salt and loaded with sugar and lots of other things. And the problem is that there needs to be something that simplifies the whole system. We're all busy people. We just need to know, is this good, bad or indifferent? Is this half your body weight in salt or whatever it is?
What are your experiences of the areas that people don't think about most? Because I think about breakfast cereals, because they are sometimes promoted as being quite healthy options. But they're a danger area.
Breakfast cereals have certainly been under the spotlight for their salt and sugar content, and I think the piece you showed really illustrated that the food that actually has salt in the title, ready salted crisps, was in fact the lowest salt contributor. And this is the issue, it's these hidden salts and hidden sugars that cause...
Let's talk about that sandwich, because it had, what was it, 2.4...
Just under 2.5 grams.
And that in your daily allowance, and we can show you what a daily allowance... I didn't know, what, is that a daily allowance?
About 6 grams is how much we can eat to
in
be
the whole
healthy.
day. It looks
That's
quite
about
a lot
teaspoon.
like that, actually.
But then you think about that sandwich actually had just under half that amount. So
in one sandwich, half of that teaspoon there in one sandwich.
In one sandwich. So then if you have a salty breakfast cereal, plus a ready meal later on in the day, plus a bag of crisps,
and you're way over there.
Exactly. It's not easy to see why so many people have high blood pressure. That's the problem with salt.
Yeah, a lot of people get in touch with someone and say the way you deal with this is cook more at home, and then you'll know. But quite a lot of people use a lot of salt
Yes,
when
they
they're
do.
at home
We
as
seem
well,
to be
don't they?
culturally, I mean, you go into a restaurant or a cafe and you often see people serve food and they do it on the telly, especially on soap operas. Somebody gets given a plate of food and the first thing they do, without even tasting it, is put salt over it. And I always think that's slightly baffling. And yes, it would be great if we all had the time and the expertise to cook more. But even if you do cook and a recipe says use a teaspoon of mayonnaise, a teaspoon of ketchup, put granola in it, whatever it is, all of these food, unless you're really cooking with stuff you grew in your back garden, then there is hidden salt even in the
Stock
ingredients
cubes.
that you use. And
Stock cubes.
Stock
Big
cubes.
one, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But because they're
Very, very salty. But I think, that is actually a good place to start. If we could all just try to cook one more meal a week from scratch using fresh ingredients, because we do know 75% of the salt in our diet comes from pre-prepared foods. It's not what we add at the table or during cooking.
The trouble is, and Angela, you go around the supermarket and you look at the prices, and actually, often the cheap foods have more salt, sugar, and the rest of it.
Definitely.
And
People talk about the fact that one of the reasons that we have a spiralling obesity problem in this country is not just that people are sitting in front of the telly eating hamburgers. It's because they're not accessing the kind of foods that will help them lose weight because they're more expensive.
Yeah.
Really good quality fruit and vegetables. And even if we think we're doing something healthy, like choosing an oaty breakfast bar instead of a chocolate bar, often there's all sorts of hidden sugars there. Because we're being culturally conditioned to think, well, oats are good, well, fibre is good. And I think what needs to happen really is there just needs to be a universal labelling that tells us exactly. We're not food scientists, we're shoppers.
yes, I do. And later, as the granola bar, oaty bar over a Mars bar, for example, or a different bar.
Give them all
Chocolate
up and have a banana.
Now,
It's not the same.
I know. Once a week, give them up
Can't
and
dip it in
have a
your
banana. I think the thing always to remember is, try and get label savvy. Don't try and turn into an investigator when you're doing your shopping. Just look at one against another. If you're choosing a cereal or a ketchup, go for the one
At
that's
least
got the
bananas
least.
make you feel a bit fuller.
or don't go down the sweet aisle. And don't pay because there's all that chocolate at the checkout.
And you can't tell people not to pay.
No,
That's not going to work.
It was a joke.
I'm glad you cleared
It
that
was a
up.
sugar rush.
Thank you very much. Good to see you this morning.
Pleasure.
Thanks both. Let's catch